It's time for the match preview, but most importantly, happy 140th birthday to Luton Town Football Club. Where does the time go? And with me to sing happy birthday to Luton Town is my co-host. It's Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Mark?
I'm good. I've got my oldest Luton Town shirt on in commemoration. It's not an original. I'll just say it right now. Unfortunately, I think back in the early 80s, there weren't that many replica shirts doing the rounds, and certainly my dad didn't have the forethought to keep hold of any. So there we go. But you do what you can.
Yeah, it's a real shame about replicas. You know, kind of, they've only really become a big thing relatively recently in the past 20 years or so. No, 20 years. 20 years would have been the year 2000. In the 90s, it became... 30 years or so.
Yeah, we're old.
Yeah. It's funny, like 20 years ago, you think, 20 years ago, that was 1990, wasn't it? But no. And no, that's 35 years ago, 1990. Yeah, where does the time go? 140 years young. What a team. Ups and downs. There's actually a great post on Hatters Heritage website. We'll put it in the, if I remember, I'll put it in the description below. It's essentially 140 years of stats. It's tremendous. It was written by Will Foster, one of the Hatters Heritage trustees. Check it out. And while you're here, why not check out the other stuff on our channel? Subscribe. There's tons of Luton Town content and championship content. But now it's time for the recap. We're going to be looking at Stoke City 1, Luton 1. So Ali saves us at the death. And it's a game that's sort of... that more has become unpacked from it. At the time, well, we'll talk about that in the team news about Elijah, just missing this one, and now it looks like he's going to be out for the foreseeable, essentially.
So.
But we'll talk about that a bit later. Fluky goal from Lewis Baker. Fluky as it gets, but we clawed our way back into it, and fortunately the results didn't go against us. However, a win would have been preferred to gain ground on some teams, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, of course, a win would. But I will say this. I don't know about you. I felt... I don't know. I had a really bad feeling about Stoke away. I generally do. But I think whereas with Cardiff, I felt like we could do something. Hull, I definitely felt positive about. I was really dreading this game. Stoke had... been in some pretty good form as well, and at home particularly they'd really picked up. Manhoff was worrying me out on their right hand side, and despite our good display against Leeds, I was really worried. So I actually think that I would have taken a point before the game. I know we all talk about it, we've got to beat Stoke, we've got to beat Derby, but actually as things turn out, we do still have to beat Derby, we still have to beat Blackburn on Saturday. We'll talk about that, but it was a good point. And I think really, if you look at the first 5-10 minutes of the game, both teams really came out as if, right, they're here to kind of stamp a marker. And I think we did really well to stop the momentum of Stoke quite early on as well, and limited them, like we've said to so many teams, to pretty much nothing. And then by the second half, it was clear they'd run out of ideas. And they sort of almost gave up at that point. And it was, if anyone was going to win the game, it was going to be us. So I think... the biggest disappointment was really conceding that freak goal. I thought we'd done with deflected free kicks after the QPR one. It had shades of that, didn't it? It's quite similar to that QPR goal. We weren't too bad in that game either. But yeah, it's more like the old Luton never say die attitude. And he so deserved that goal, didn't he, Ali? He was brilliant. We've both been singing his praises since he's had time in the team, and now it looks like he's probably going to get an extended run till the end of the season. At least he certainly should do in the next game. So, yeah, I'm feeling more positive with a point. Probably the nature of it as well helps going into Saturday, which I feel much more optimistic about.
Yeah, it's hard not to be optimistic after that performance because we defend better.
Yeah.
Simple as. Bloomfield's done a great job, and we restricted Stoke so very little other than that time when Kaminsky slipped. And fortunately, I think it was Manhoff put it wide, or Sam Gallagher put it wide. Yeah,
This club is going to kill me. This club is going to kill me.
it could have. It could have gone. It could have gone in. Yeah, very simply. We got lucky, and you ride your luck. We done that with against Leeds in the game before as well, where we rode our luck, where the flag stayed down, and I think it was Schmidt blasted it wide, or Bamford blasted it wide. You ride your luck, but you make your luck. And earlier on in the season, we were giving teams 4 or 5 of those a game, and we were getting punished like at least 2 or 3 times. Whereas now we give teams 1 of those. Yeah. And, at this level, they don't really punish you as much as they do in the Premier League. But,
yeah,
that's all I can really say about the Stoke game. Any summarising thoughts?
Yeah, I echo what you said about Matt Bloomfield. Look, I questioned on here and personally to you as well as to whether he was the right man for the job. I think we both agreed that, earlier in the season or at the start of the season, definitely. But was he the right man for the job? I've been so impressed with everything over the last few games, not just the defence. Look at that midfield. I mean, no one could have convinced me that Walsh, Clark, and obviously we didn't have Asgard at the time, but Walsh and Clark in particular could hold together a midfield and dominate. Clark defensively was a disaster at the start of the season, being played deeper, of course. We all know that what Walsh was like defensively because play was stretched and he was getting red carded every chance he could. I mean, they've both been an absolute revelation in games. I think for me, Clark was sensational against Stoke. I thought he was really, really good. And he's just stepped up in every one of those big games. And what an assist. As well.
He meant it. He meant
it. Of course he did.
Don't tell me otherwise.
I wouldn't dare. But yeah, Walsh as well. I was his biggest critic, so I'll always be the first to praise him when he plays well. And he again was brilliant. I've been so impressed with that midfield. Asgard is really starting to tick now, isn't he?
It's all happened too late. It's all happened too late.
Well, that may be the case.
Bloomfield should have been brought in. A new manager should have been brought in months earlier.
But that's happened now. And we'll see. I'm not convinced by that. I think we'll do it. I really do. We'll see. If we don't do it, though, I'm still far more positive than I was a couple of months ago. And that's all we can be at the moment, right? What's happened. But, and while I agree with you, I agree with you that Edwards should have gone earlier than he did. But we've given ourselves a decent chance now. And we're facing a Blackburn side that really, on recent form, at Kenilworth Road, we should be getting 3 points against.
We should be, yeah. But remember what I said a couple of pods ago. Football ain't played on paper.
I think you said it was played on paper.
Yeah, football is played on paper. No, football is not played on paper. We're informed, they're not, but that's not the way the cookie crumbles. Right, but should we take a look ahead to that game? Because now it's time for the team news. Yeah. This week in the Shandon Baptiste Memorial Wing of the Physiotherapy Department, we have Alfie Doughty, who, I think he's a doubt, isn't he, Doughty?
I certainly think so. Look like a hamstring. I'd be surprised if we see him at all in the next 5 games, sadly.
Yeah, it happens all the time to me when I stretch to put on a shoes or something. My belly gets in the way and then I just pull my hamstring. Happens all the time. I think Doughty should lay off the Guinnesses. At least he has time for Cheltenham now. No, the Grand National, He shouldn't be posting pictures on his Insta necking Guinnesses.
Oh, come on. Come on, not important. It's not important. It really isn't. Come on, who else is
Okay. Elijah Adebayo, the club released a statement. Thank you for telling me that because I completely missed that today while I was at work. Has had surgery on his ACL is a real shame. And you asked me before we started rolling, will Elijah Adebayo play for Luton Town again?
Yeah.
I suspect yes.
Yeah, probably he might have to anyway, regardless, but it's going to be a long old time on the sidelines. We might not even see him next season, let alone the end of this. So
it's typical for
recovers
Elijah.
well. So
whenever
typical.
he's hitting form, whenever he's starting to hit form, he gets an injury, and this one is quite a significant one. It's a real shame for him, especially at his age, because he's entering the peak of his footballing powers right now. Jacob Brown, out for the season. Marvelous Nakamba, out for the season. Tom Lockyer, probably out for the season as well. Shandon Baptiste could be returning.
I think you missed Nakamba. Nakamba's could well be fit for this game as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he gets in, by the way, which is...
No.
I would have said that a couple of months ago as well.
Yeah, I know,
apparently, right? But apparently I think he's there or thereabouts, and not much has been said, but we'll find out, obviously, in Bloomfield's presser tomorrow. We're recording. So, yeah, that will be the day this comes out, right? But he'll probably get at least 3 or 4 games. It'll be good to see him on the bench. It'd be nice to have that option at least.
Yeah, and it is an option. And Shannon Baptiste, if he does start, if he comes on the bench as an option as well, that's good. You know, if we can get 3 minutes or so into his legs before he passes the ball or trips over a worm and ruptures something, that'd be quite nice. But I'm guessing it's everything stays the same now from the Stoke game, even though it's 3-game week. Yeah,
I think so.
I take Chong out, to be honest.
Yeah, I
put
agree.
Bowler in or anyone. I put Piper in. John Piper. He can do the job up front.
I think there's an excuse for Chong to say that he's coming back from injury. He had half a game against Hull. He had most of the second half against Leeds as well. But as I've said to you outside of the podcast, I'm starting to lose a bit of patience with him. I mean,
what's his excuse for the rest of his time at Luton?
Well, quite. I mean, he's not offering the kind of pace that we need to juxtapose Morris, who, you know, clearly hasn't got it. That's one thing with Morris we agree on. But Morris does win his headers, and therefore he needs someone to run onto it.
Chong has pace, but the thing is,
he's not demonstrating it. He's not using it.
He won't run beyond. Like, he gets the ball and he will stop and he'll just square it to someone instead of trying to take on someone.
Yeah.
He just doesn't do that. And he goes down too easily.
Oh, yeah, he does. He got lucky with a couple, didn't he? Against that. I mean, Stoke got very lucky with a few, including the free kick that never was. That ended up being a goal. But yeah, he does go down too easily. But yeah, no, I'd probably agree with you. I don't think Matt will change it. I think Chong will probably stay in for this, and if he has another poor-ish game, then that obviously changes. But I do like Bowler when he's come on. He's made a difference in both games where he's come on. And he's not afraid to have a go at players. I would just say that what the hell happened when he was about to shoot, and someone must have cattle prodded him from behind or something. I couldn't see it, but his legs just disappeared. But yeah, apart from that must have been the time at Luton that's done that to him. But apart from that, he's created stuff at least.
It's just a lack of football for Bowler. It's unfortunate. His career, he shows so much promise at Blackpool, and then Nottingham Forest came knocking, waved the cash under his nose, and off he went, and he hasn't even played for them. But hey ho, his career and contract, his contract must be ending soon, and then he can get his career back on track in a team that plays a 4-2-3-1. Hopefully, he'll probably go back to Blackpool actually, because he had good times there. I guess
could do. I mean, I have a strong feeling that will be our system next season. Anyway, I don't.
Yeah, but I think he promised that. Yeah, I think he promised that anyway. Yeah. There is time enough for that. We've all speculated that's going to be the system next year. Save it for the autopsy at the end of the season.
It's going to be a big one.
But now we're going to kick this over to Phil, because he met with the opposition for their view ahead of the game. Take it away, Phil.
Hello everyone, Phil here from the OK Football Show. Thank you, Ollie, and thank you, Mark, for the handover. This week I'll be speaking to Dirk from the Roverseas podcast. He joined us earlier on in the season, thoroughly likeable chap, and I'm going to be asking quite a simple question this week because despite the fact that they're nowhere near the bottom of the table, Blackburn's form has been utterly dreadful. So I'm going to try and drill into that by asking a really open question to Dirk. What's gone wrong? So we'll find out what he's got to say. But hopefully Luton Town will use home advantage. This week is absolutely massive, this week coming up, as I'm sure Ollie and Mark have already described. So if we get 3 points against Blackburn and then go to Derby County and get something out of there, then this miracle escape could be on. It could be on. We're obviously going to have to do it without Elijah Adebayo. It's been in the news today that he's undergone surgery, but it's going to be an interesting one, and it's going to make or break our season, these next 2 games, as I perceive it anyway. So I will leave it there, and I'll be joined ever so shortly by the magic of editing by Dirk from the Roverseas. Okay, everyone. So as promised, I've got Dirk here from Roverseas. Thank you so much for coming on, Dirk. It was lovely speaking to you earlier on in the season. After we spoke earlier on in the season, you gave us a 2-0 beating up at Ewood Park, and we saw Liam Walsh get sent off yet again. But that seems like it's a long time ago in the memory. And I was introducing yourself in the introduction for this particular piece. And I said in that piece that I would ask a very open question. So, Dirk, I am going to ask it, what is going on with Blackburn Rovers? Because your form is not great. Is it simply that John Eustace gone, or is it something else? And please enlighten us. Give Luton fans that little bit of insight as to what's going on as Blackburn Rovers fan at the minute.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good at the moment. It's all stemmed from the John Eustace move to Derby County. And again, when you look at it way back when, it was a bizarre scenario, abandoning ship, a team that's was in the top 6 at the time, to a team that was struggling to stay in the division. But that in itself was a difficult pill for us to swallow. But it's gone on to shed some light in various corners of the footballing world, was specifically Blackburn Rovers. It's no secret that Blackburn Rovers owners aren't the best, and it also is no secret that our hierarchy within the club, our CEO or CCO or what have you, or director of footballing operations, they're all a little bit misguided, or just very much not fit for the role that they currently have in Blackburn Rovers, and they're not doing the club any good favours, and they're definitely not singing the right songs at the moment for the fans. I think, the Venky's ownership is very. It's gone off on the bad foot way back when it all kicked off, and it's never gone onto the right track. It's never been on the right track. They've been on the tracks ever since they started. They got it all wrong with the appointments they made then, and from those early moments, they've never managed to bounce back. And currently, there's a lot of toxic. There's a toxic environment in the fan base aimed at those hierarching figures of Steve Waggett and the communications guy over there, and it just shows that it's a circus behind the scenes, and that circus behind the scenes has bled onto the football pitch. It's also bled into the stands, and everybody is at each other's throats. It's not a pleasant thing, and there's no end in sight. There's no end in sight for this. The manager appointment, I'm going to stand on this, and I'll probably die on this sword. I like Valérien Ismaël. I know he's got a bad rap with his previous managerial appointments. He doesn't stick around for longer than a year, but I think he's a good appointment. But his appointment just goes alongside with the madness of everything else. He's getting a bad rap because of it. The form was bad when Eustace left. We were already in a bad rut. I think we were 5 or 6 games without a win at that time. Then he left, which I felt was sackable form for John Eustace, but he was never going to get sacked. He was never going to get sacked. I'm sure that he would have turned things around. But in all footballing sense, it was definitely a questionable bit of form. So Rovers were in a bad bit of form anyway. So whoever had to come in was going to have to work miracles to get the players out of the funk. And Van Ishmael has so far failed to strike a tune with the players. So it's a scenario that has no end. There is no end in sight. The owners aren't going to go anywhere, and the hierarchy seems to be getting their feet right under the table, and we're just going to have to deal with it. Hopefully, somehow, somewhere, there is going to be some sort of change in our form, and we've had experiences like this in the past with the ownership, with the Venkis. They hired Owen Coyle, a notorious face familiar with our foes. I guess kind of Edwards, kind of feel the same vibe with you guys. He managed Watford, then of course that's the holy grail. You don't then go manage the bitter rivals. So we had Owen Coyle, who was ex Dingle, and then come into our house. That was one of the main arcs of contention for Rovers fans. And that, of course, led to our relegation League One. So we had a good steady period under Tony Mowbray. He brought the identity back to the club and everything was on the right track. Then we went a little bit bold, a little bit ambitious with John Dahl Thomason. That worked out a little bit because we got to 7th, just outside the playoffs. Then, of course, he had a nightmare season the next season, which John Eustace had to repair. And, of course, we were in a similar position that you guys are now, where heading into the final few games, we are trying to avoid the drop. So we thought we were on our way back on a good track, a positive track, but now this sort of jumping ship by John Eustace, and he doesn't get out of it scot-free. He has been, rumor has it, applying for jobs early doors. Since the season started, he was linked with Plymouth, he was linked with Preston. Any job that came available, he wanted to get out of there, and that just goes to show what's going on behind the scenes. He doesn't want to work with the owners, doesn't want to work with the hierarchy, and he jumped ship. So Valérien Ismaël's here. He's on a 3.5-year deal. Will he stick around? I don't know. I want to believe in him. I'm giving him the summer because this is not his team. This is a John Eustace team. He plays a certain style of football, and hopefully somehow we manage to get through the summer in a better position than we find ourselves in now. But it is pretty ugly, pretty miserable, and I'm looking forward to the season being over and not looking at or dealing with the nonsense that is Blackburn Rovers right now. It's basically, in a nutshell, it's worse than a madhouse. It's I just wish I could, the Men in Black laser thing. I could just wish I could just erase my memory of everything going on, because it's just. And I know usually even on times before when we've been down, and even last season when we were on the brink of relegation, I felt better in that period where we were on the brink of going down to where we are now. And I just want to see some light at the end of the tunnel, and I do feel like I'm in the minority trying to back Valérien Ismaël here. I just want him to get his first win. I want to get the players believing in him, and hopefully he's trying to turn the fan base around to back the guy. Because really, we've got to understand that this is not his team. He plays a certain style of football. Eustace does his own style of football. He's a defensive-minded coach. I think if the hierarchy do buy into the plan of this kind of football, and somehow, because we don't know where any money's coming from, because there's an Indian court case which also restricts the purse strings. But if there's somehow some sort of investment in the club over the summer towards that kind of football, then it could be an exciting time next season. But I am forever the optimist, and I might be in cloud cuckoo land.
No, I think it's one of those ones where part of me reflects on the things that you said and thinks it is a case of it's the hope that kills you on this particular season, because, like you say, you were up there in the top 6 for quite a considerable length of time, and obviously it does. Whilst you're right, there was a drop in form, but there's a strong correlation between John Eustace leaving but I would tend to echo your optimism with Valérien Ismaël, because I mean the one job that I would say that he was absolutely outstanding in was when he took Barnsley to the playoffs. Now that was a club that he was able to sort of manipulate the squad. He was able to sort of put across his ethos. And if you're in a position where you're able to offer him a 3.5-year contract, that would intimate to me that there's an element of faith in there that he's going to be there, and he's going to be given an opportunity, not just for the rest of the season. I mean, at the end of the day, the way it sits at the minute is he's learning his players. He'll know who he wants. He'll know who he was likely to try and keep hold of, who he's likely to say thanks very much, but no thanks, and build his squad. So I think that your optimism isn't so far-fetched. That being said, I am aware of my stance, and those that are listening that are of a Blackburn persuasion will be thinking, why is this Luton fan talking? But like I say, I think that Ismaël has been in and around the leagues that Luton have been playing in over the last 4 or 5 years, and he can do a good job. Like I say, it's just a case of giving him the reins and giving him that opportunity. So as much as it is sad to think about how your season has gone, it is one of those ones where, again, you're in the league next season, and you just live in hope that you can kick on and go again. But in terms of how things are, obviously for this weekend, you came back from a dicey situation in midweek and managed to nab a draw, which ultimately is progression when you consider like what the form was before. And that's not me trying to be sassy or anything like that. It's just the truth. Sometimes you just have to take a draw and think, is that a Kickstarter? So is it a case of feeling a little bit happier about things and see what you can do to help Luton out? I mean, the predicament that you've got is that if you beat us, then you basically help out Derby and you help out John Eustace. So are you going to bend over for us this weekend, Dirk? Is what I'm going to ask.
Well, it is, and it's one of them catch-22s or whatever you call it. But the fight back was there from Rovers, which was good to see. Finally, a bit of fight, bit of desire. And I think maybe playing on the road might be also better for Blackburn Rovers. I don't know if we will be taking one for the team this week. I think we just want to get the wheels in motion moving. I think it is one of those that like in mind for the fans anyway. Ideally, we all want to win. We want to get his first victory under his belt, and then maybe start just a mini bounce at the end of the season just to end it. But also, it's like that. I was thinking, start betting on the opposition type. Put some money down for the opposition to win. So if Blackburn do win, then I'm happy. But I might be like £5 or £10 down or something. But if the other way, if I put £5 or £10 on the other team, then I might be, at least I won some money. So it might be one of those that if Luton Town win and then Derby do lose, the gap might open up a little bit. But I think realistically, it just like we found it last season. Come the end of the last day of the season, there was 5 teams in it or something still going down. So even if you guys do win, Derby probably will win, or they might even be not in the discussion. So as much as we want to put a little bit of poison in his porridge, John Eustace, I think priority is just to get the win, just to get the belief in the coach, because rolling into end of the season and we still haven't got a win under that coach, the pitchforks will be out, even though they're already out already. They'll be sharpened for the summer, and I don't want to chase the guy out straight away, even if he has a chance to build his own team.
Yeah, and let's face it, they're professional footballers. They're not going to be thinking about getting revenge on their old boss at this particular time. They're just going to be thinking.
They had that chance. They had that chance when they played against them, and they screwed that up as well.
Exactly. I mean, like I say, if there's even the remotest chance that there's a Blackburn player watching, then please do bend over, because we've got Derby in our game afterwards, and that really would be quite tasty.
That's going to be a banger. That game there.
Yeah, but it could not be a banger if things go the opposite way. All it would take is for Derby to win and you beat us, and then we're in an unbelievably bleak situation. So, and truth be told, our fixtures moving forwards after yourselves and Derby, there's 2 or 3 teams potentially that are all looking at chasing the playoff spots. So they've all got stuff to play for, which is really difficult at this time of year. So, but it brings me to my final question, Dirk. I'm going to keep it relatively short and sweet because Ollie and Mark do like to ramble on when it comes to the Luton stuff. So, Dirk, what have you got as your prediction for the actual scoreline at the weekend? What are you going for?
Well, you're going for, I'd love to get a win, but you guys have clicked into gear at a good bit of the time of the season. I'm going to go with an ambitious 1-1 draw. Maybe Thomas Kaminski forgets which side he's on, or Amari Bell or something forgets which side they're on for a second, and then give us a much-needed point. It'd be a good time to play Luton, and I do wish you guys the best because we do like your story of on the brink of relegation yourselves way back when to the oblivion. So hopefully you guys manage to do the dirty on Derby.
Yeah, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. And the final one that actually I say that was my final question. Genuinely, this is a genuine question, and it's not meant to be said with a smirk or anything like that because unfortunately he never pulled up any trees with us. But how's Cauley Woodrow been doing for you guys? Is it? I know he's not getting a lot of minutes, but is it much the same as our viewpoint where he's not up to much? And it's one of those ones where when he comes on, you go, "Oh no, what's the point?" Or is it he's all right?
He hasn't had much chance. He started one game and he's come off the bench a couple of other times. I would admit whenever the deal was happening at the time in the transfer deadline day, I wasn't blown away with excitement.
No.
But what I can say is that he does know Valerie Ismail, so
he does,
and that's when he had his best football. Maybe he will get a good rub of the green. I don't even know if their deal's a permanent deal, if it's a loan. I really don't know.
I think it's initial loan. I think it's initial loan, but I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's anyone that's going to be clamouring to keep hold of him in the summer. So
the likelihood is he probably won't. He won't be here next season. But I do hope he can feature. We are running out of ideas up top. So, but you guys just lost Adebayo, didn't you? Did he
we have
an injury?
Yeah. He's had a surgery today. So we're sort of running quite thin at the top. We've got Carlton Morris, we've got Lassin Nordas up front, who we can use. Well, we also have Millie Ali as well, who scored the equalising goal
guy, right?
in the week.
Excellent guy, right?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that we've got enough legs and that we've got enough options because it's also about making sure that you've got people that are able to come on and come off and just give that freshen up time. So it was a big loss because Adebayo arguably had his best half of football in quite some time in that game that he got injured. So it's a bit of a shame, but I don't think that Woodrow will be eligible to play at the weekend if it is a loan. I'd be surprised at that, but no big loss. But anyway, Dirk, what I'll do is I'll sign off there and thank you again, and I really appreciate you coming on and giving me your time this evening. So thank you very much, and
hopefully we could do it again next season, eh?
Fingers crossed, mate. That's what I've been saying to a fair few people this last few weeks. Fingers crossed that I get a chance to speak to you again next season, mate. So there you have it, everyone. Dirk from the Roverseas podcast. He's predicting a 1-1 draw at the weekend. I'm pretty desperate for us to beat them, I'll be honest with you. Talking about the game just sort of really whets the appetite and makes you realise how much you want it. And truth be told, I really, really desperately want to turn over Blackburn. Not because of anything to do with them. I just want to give us every single chance that we can have of staying up and making that game against Derby on the Easter Friday, Good Friday, absolutely massive. It's going to be a monumental clash. If we can pick up 3 points and if we can rely on Pompey to do something against Derby, which I think is feasible. Pompey at home are a very, very good side and they will know that a win will pretty much see them over the line of safety as well. So especially after that last minute loss last night to Coventry. So it's just crunch time. I've been saying it for weeks, but it really is crunch time at the moment. And we're just going to have to see how it goes. We're going to have to put our faith in those guys that are still fit. It was wonderful to see Ali score his first goal, and by all accounts, he looked absolutely brilliant. So my fingers are firmly crossed for the Hatters, and let's bring it on. Let's really, really get behind them because ultimately, this is really exciting. We're in with a shout when we never thought that we would be a few weeks back. So fingers firmly crossed, and as always, come on, you Hatters, and take it away, Mark and Ollie. All the best, gents.
Thank you, Phil. Right, Ryman. Who's worrying you in this game?
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about them being wildly out of form. They did score a couple of goals against Sheffield Wednesday, and I think did the 2 assists. Well, one of the goals came from Dolan, the other one came from Ohashi, and Cantwell assisted both of them. Yeah, there's my players right there.
Yeah.
I take your pick out of any of them. We know that from the start of the season, or even the first 2/3 of the season, really, that, particularly Ohashi was ridiculous. So if he finds anything like that form again, then we're in trouble. I think that we will pretty much dominate, but we all know that our problem is in attack and taking our chances. I don't think that'll change in this game. So what I'm concerned about is them scoring the 1-2 chances that they have on the break, and therefore I'm going to go with I'll go with Ohashi, but could have been any of those three, because he can be clinical. I know he hasn't always been recently, but that's the bit that concerns me.
Yeah, pretty much the same, really, isn't it? I would have said ranking Costello with those late breaks from deep, but I think he's injured. He's out for this one, so that's lucky, isn't it? I guess we'll see what happens with that one. But yeah, Dolan, he's tremendous. If only we signed him last winter window when we should have done more business. Dolan could have been an option off the bench with pace and raw, and he would have been good in the Championship. But to be honest, if we'd signed the likes of Ali and Asgard and Dolan and brought them into this season under Edwards, he would have ruined them all, he ruined the rest of the team.
Yeah, well, I think we were on a downhill trajectory. I think that a mass overhaul would have definitely helped. I think we've talked about this, but again, sticking the autopsy. But I'm with you on Dolan, and also he's got the added negative of a player that we're interested in, and we know what happens with players we're linked with or interested in. The same that happened with Tom Cannon when Stoke came to town.
No, we signed them.
They score against us.
They score against us, but what they do is they tear us apart, and then we sign them.
Well, that did happen.
Like Sahith Chong, and Colton Morris.
Oh, of course, he scored
and
that
Mads
nice
Anderson.
1-on-1 goal.
Well, Mads Anderson didn't score against us, but he impressed against us.
Right.
Yeah.
Where is he now?
He was good. He was good for Barnsley. Well, where is Mads Anderson? Where is he?
Well, look, I mean, let's be honest. Mads Anderson is not getting anywhere near this defence at the moment, regardless of how well he's or badly he's playing. At the moment.
He should be on the bench at least.
Not with Mengi and Burke there. I can't see it. We had three centre backs on the bench against Stoke, didn't we? Naismith, Burke, and Mengi. I mean, he doesn't get ahead of any of those three for me, but
Anderson's gone in the summer. He's gone. He can.
Yeah, he's one of them.
He can go away. I'm not a fan of him. Sure, he's a nice guy, but he can go off. He's as slow as a tugboat.
I think it's fair to say that yes, turning circle against Watford. That was pretty awful, and
that's the last we saw of him. That's the last we saw of him.
Yeah, I think that goal against West Ham will be the shine. Unfortunately, we lost that game 2-1 as well. But I think he's also just had endless injuries as well. Let's be fair, he's had absolutely endless injuries, and he's one of the few ones that we signed without a massive injury record as well. So there we go.
That's 3 million. Might as well set that on fire, as well as the 25k a week that we're paying Victor Moses. But hey, save it for the autopsy.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay, but now it's time for score predictions. So, Ryman, you kick it off. Go on. Then.
I should have really thought about this and gone 3-2, right? Because we are replicating that survival season quite a lot now with a few of these scores. We beat Hull 1-0. We drew against Leeds 1-1. Okay, it was at home and not away. But I went 2-0. I am feeling positive about it. I think... it's difficult to see who's going to get the goals, but we have got players, Asgard, Clark, in the midfield that are capable of scoring, of course, Ali as well. So I think we'll certainly have the chances to score 2 goals. I don't see their defence keeping us at bay. It's whether we take those chances, and that's it's a big if. And I see our defence keeping a clean sheet. Famous last words, right? but they've been so good. They really have, and including, two ex-Blackburn players in there as well. I thought Bell was brilliant, by the way, against Stoke. I didn't mention that, but I thought that was probably his best game for me. It was much more like the Bell of old. It was great to see. Barely made an error at all. I don't think he did. And Kaminsky, I know he slipped, and that was nearly horrendous, but it's also because they overwatered the grass so that they could play football, because it was clearly tactical to try and beat us on the floor, and it just ended up meaning that Mikosso and Kaminsky just fell over all the time, which is another tactic, I guess. But I can't see many teams getting past our defence from open play, and that probably includes Blackburn. I said what I was worried about, but I still think we can hold our own there. It's optimistic, but I reckon, 2-0.
So mine along the same vein, except I can't see us keeping a clean sheet. There'll be a moment, we do give teams the odd chance, really. And I feel with those odd chances, we can get punished. And there's Dolan, he's tricky. I reckon they'll score, but I think it could be either like an absolute mare from us at the back, or it'll be Dolan winning a penalty. I know Hashi converting it, or Cantwell converting. I think Cantwell takes their pens. I don't have enough faith to predict a clean sheet, because there's always an error. We are not without errors, although the defense is just so much better. Imagine if we'd been like this all season. Yeah. Could you imagine?
I don't think there's been many errors. I mean, I'm not counting the Kaminsky slip, because that for me isn't an error. I mean, obviously, he didn't want to fall over, but that's not. It's not like the errors we were making in the start of the season, where we were passing it straight back to them, or refusing to block shots, not being positionally sound. None of that's happening anymore. Leaving players open from crosses. Tyrese Dolan would have been absolutely terrifying the first half of this season.
When wingers were our kryptonite.
There, because we just allowed players freedom of the box when players were cutting inside. That touch wood isn't happening anymore. So, it's taken a freak goal against Stoke, a very good goal against Dan James. Elijah should have closed him down a bit more, yes, but Elijah's a centre forward and not a defender, so I can give him a bit of slack for that. Hull obviously didn't score, and then, the Cardiff goal was, well, a weird one, but, one that you can't really do too much about with the Callum Chambers one. So, I think that... I think we're standing strong defensively for this one as well. We just got to hope that Blackburn's form continues.
Well, let's see if it does continue. But let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen in this game. And if you made it this far into the video and you're watching and you're enjoying and you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? Hit the subscribe button down below. I'll wait.
Are we the whole time?
Yeah.
Are we waiting for 2,000? We're pretty close as well. So,
we are pretty close.
Please,
I think it's,
if you haven't subscribed, do it.
Yeah, can you imagine hitting 2,000? Absolutely surreal. But that's us done. And most importantly, come on, you Hatters.